Hey everybody, it's Andres Aya with Aya Percussion, going over the Set A Timpani music for middle school region band. Make sure you watch the Timpani Fundamentals video before you go through this because it'll cover a lot of things that I'm not going to cover that are basics. Alright, this is page 21 for the musical studies for the intermediate timpanist by Whaley. And we're looking at a range from 96 to 108. For the purposes of this tutorial, I'm going to go 70 nice and slow. Of course, I'll have performance tracks that are faster, but again, for this purpose, we're going to go nice and easy. Now, first off, this piece has 3 timpani. Now, those pitches will work on the top 3 drums and also the bottom 3 drums. Remember from the fundamentals video, you don't want to pick pitches that are way down in the range. So the F would be the lowest note possible here, and that's not going to sound great. So I'm selecting the bottom 3 drums, 32, 29, 26. So that we have our F here, our C, and then our F here. So we're getting them towards the top or the middle of the range of the drum to sound very articulate and crisp and clear. So we don't need this 23-inch drum. That's how you do it. Again, I would recommend sitting down on timpani so you have more stability, and you also have your feet on the pedal so that if you need to make a quick intonation change, you can fix your tuning. It also helps you keep your arms at the correct level. Typically, middle schoolers don't pay attention to their hit zones. Again, that's in the fundamentals video, but I really want to draw your attention to the top drum. When you get to the 23 or 26, I usually see younger players really disregard the hit spot, and they end up hitting way too deep. And then they play a very good etude, but it just sounds terrible on the top drum. So please be very careful on the top drums that you're hitting right in the sweet spot, which is about 1/3 from the rim to the center, which on this drum is about 2 inches. So use your ear, but then as you get to know your drum, make sure you're targeting where you know it's going to sound good. Let's talk about muting for a second. I find that muting can sometimes take away from your performance. So I only have a couple of moments where we have some muting. Sometimes kids go crazy and take the music very literal, and anytime there's a rest, they mute. I find that a little too distracting. So we're going to see what makes musical sense, where it's just enough to make it sound better and not be a distraction. As far as sticking goes, we're going to pick the sticking that makes us sound the best and is most common sense. So I'm going to guide you through that, but it's pretty easy. As far as muting goes as well, make sure you are, I like to spread my fingers apart as much as possible and also mute nearest the hit spot. So you don't want to mute too close to the edge. You're not really muting, you're touching it, but you're not really muting. Or off to the side where it's not really going to mute it. So, and I like to employ the 1-finger technique where you're holding with your first finger and spreading your fingers out. I also like to throw my mallet off to the side so that it doesn't accidentally hit the rim. Okay? There's kind of a swing to that. I also use my thumb as well. All right, your stroke type on timpani should be I like to use piston and French grip, which means, so I have very passive fingers. So I always want the stroke to come up and pull the sound out of the instrument. So even if I'm playing soft, I will still be lifting the stick. I never really want a downstroke. I also find you're going to get more articulation if your beads are closer together. Works the opposite way. When we have rolls, I like to spread my hands out because it has less articulation. Kind of hear when you go towards the center, you hear more rhythm. So on the rolls, you'll see me spread my hands out to take advantage of that. All right, so let's start on measure 1. So right hand lead system is going to be super easy here. 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4. It's very important when you get over to the bottom drum, you really go for good hit spots. Don't just hit wherever, really target your beats together, okay? All right, so let's play that nice and slow. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, last time, ready, go. Measure 2, we have our first mute here. So we have a downbeat on 1 and I'm literally going to mute on the and then our next hit is on the and the mute is on 3. 1 and 2 and 3. Now the next beat is on the and the last beat is on the and. So I'm gonna go right, left, right to finish that. That's the most comfortable sticking I could find. Okay, so I have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Now I could play the left hand on this C, but since you got through muting here, it's less awkward to get your left hand over there. So I let my right hand take care of it while my left hand gets ready. My left hand has more time to get ready. Okay, so play measure 2. 1, 2, ready, and go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, so then we have the third measure. Same simple rhythms, 1 and a 2E and a 3 and a 4E and a 1. We do have it moving from the high drum to the low drum, so you need to make sure your left hand again is getting in a good hit spot. Okay, pretty simple here. 1, 2, ready, go. Again. So you can look to your hit spots. Do use music for timpani, but there are going to be moments where you have little pockets of memorization so you can check your hit spots. But on snare, on timpani, definitely use your music. Obviously on mallets, you might not use your music. All right, line 2, we start with 8-note triplets. Triplet, 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 triplet. Now that's pretty boring. I like to have a natural crescendo on that, just a little mini dynamics. I like to use right, left, left. I could go right, left, right, right. I could go right, left, left. I like to pick right, left, left, a putted sticking, so I can really focus on getting a good hit spot on the top drum. Okay, these two drums are a little more forgiving. Okay, 1, 2, little mini crescendo. So we get to measure 5 here. We have right hand lead system here. 1 and a 2 and a 3. Pretty simple here. Now on the roll, I'm going to strike, and then I'm going to sneak in at a low height, maybe not even heard at first, and then really ramp up towards the end as you crescendo. Again, this is kind of the rare circumstance where you will downstroke a little bit, because you need to sneak in low, where we don't even really hear the beginning of the roll. Okay, if you come in high, it's not going to be really effective. And again, you hear I'm putting a little bit of a pause before I roll, because it's going to sing for fortissimo for a second, then I can start rolling. Maybe on the and of 3. 1 and 3. Maybe practice without the crescendo first and really make sure you're sneaking in. 1 and again, and go. 1 and stay low for a little bit, and then wait to the last second to do the crescendo. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. Again, go. last measure of the second line, measure 6, we have the same rhythm, 1 and 2 and same thing, but now we're going to the low drum and it's a decrescendo. It's a roll with an accent and then decrescendos. Now a timpani is naturally going to decay on its own. So I'm not going to really do too much rolling here. It's going to be more slow to fast as I get lower. I'm just going to help it decay. I'm not going to really do too much there. Okay, so I have 1 and 2. And that is kind of tough on that cross stroke, but because you have a break coming up after, it shouldn't be a problem. Okay, ready, go. Go. Okay. All of line 2. 1, 2, ready, go. Let's go ahead and add the last note because technically you're going to have to jump up to the top drum. And when you do that, it's okay to have a little bit of a break so you can get to the top drum without accenting. Okay? Keep your hands nice and low when you travel. Don't travel in a rainbow, travel in a straight line. So. Nice and gentle and get a good hit spot. Okay, also it's not a tied roll, so you have a little moment of silence before you get to that drum. Ready, go. Moving on to line 3, measure 7. We are piano, and again, even though I'm softer, I want to make sure that I'm still lifting. Okay, and have articulation. Okay, so we have 1 and 3 and 1. Pretty simple. Look at these hit spots. Ready, go. Now you have an accent. So even though it's piano, it only bumps up to mezzo piano for that accent, but make sure we hear the accent. Now, we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. There's no accents on the last 2 notes, so make sure you hear a difference. Ba-da-da-da-da, ba-ba-da-da-da-da, not accented. Make sure you hear the difference. Ready, go. Last 2 notes are just as soft as the inner beats. Now we have a similar rhythm for measure 7 in measure 9. 1 and 3 and 1. Okay, but different drums and slightly different stickings. Right, left, right, left, right, right, left. So you have a double right at the end, but only because it's going to make sure you're not doing any crossovers. Okay, pretty simple. All right, let's play that measure again. Ready? Measure 9 again. Ready? Go. 1 and 3 and 1. Simple there. And then the last measure, measure 10, you have left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Okay, and you're moving back and forth in your left hand. Ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. You do have a double right there when you're going on to the next line. All right, all of line 3. 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, now we have line 4. Got simple 60 notes back and forth. This is making sure you're getting, just make sure you got good hit spots here. And then pretty simple 8 notes in the left hand as your crescendo. And then a recap of measure 1. Okay, so this is pretty simple. Let's take each measure. 1, 2, 11, and go. tones there is to stay piano, okay, even though you're reaching, okay? So again, don't travel in a rainbow, travel in a straight line. Ready? Go. And think about hitting the top drum softer because it's naturally going to be louder because it's a higher pitch. All right, now the eighth notes. Ready? And measure 12. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. Pretty simple there. Again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, and then the last measure is the same as the first measure. 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, all of line 4. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. Again, and go. All right, so we're on line 5, measure 14. Same as measure 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Pretty straightforward there. Ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. These are rooftops, just like in measure 2, so make sure they sound exactly the same. So rooftops are going to have a little more emphasis, but don't get a nasty sound in the timpani. In your region auditions, you really got to strive for a nice tone. Sometimes you'll get kids that are just playing way too soft. You don't want that kind of confidence in your region band. Okay, it's supposed to be the best of the best. We also don't want to play offensively. You're going to offend the judge. They're going to be like, "What are you doing?" And they're going to slap down a really low number. So you got to make sure you're not offensively loud. You're not too dainty soft. You're just right. Okay, baby bear, I guess, right? All right. So in measure 15 here, second line of line 5, we're just going up and down the drum 60 notes. You just got to watch your hit spots and some of the crossover moments. And I would memorize this and just watch your hit spots. Okay, pretty simple there. And then ending on the top drum. So this line is pretty straightforward. Here we go, all of line 5. 1, 2, ready, go. 1 and 2 and 4. I'm wanting to rush because it's so slow, but make sure you play in time. Let's do it again. Ready, go. You notice this is louder than here. There's a difference between the rooftops and just regular playing, okay? Make sure you hear a difference. All right, here is line 6, measure 17. We're gonna have some crossovers for the first time here. My only advice on crossovers is to make sure your left hand is low so that when your right hand crosses, it's not hitting at a higher angle and getting a different sound or a weaker sound. So really practice maybe your hands really crossed and low. Sound instead of this. If your left hand's too high, your right hand's going to be descending here. So you want to make sure everything's nice and low. So practice that until you're getting a good sound and you're comfortable with that crossover and getting good hit spots. You don't want to hit the rim here. You got to look until it feels natural that you're getting a good spot there on the low drum. Okay, so then we have 60 notes, so it doubles in speed, so that's even tougher. Okay, so you really got to maybe memorize that and look at those hit spots. Get those hands low. All right, so let's play that measure. 1, 2, ready, go. Measure 18, the second measure of the 6th line, you have a bunch of quarter rests and 8th rests. Technically, those mean silence, but I think it's more distracting and makes you sound worse. So I would just play this beautifully, and I wouldn't really have any muting going on here, okay? It's just, there's just too much muting going on. It's just too distracting, okay? With muting, it sounds like this. So I would say just play with a beautiful sound, good hit spots, and obviously rhythmical accuracy. So for this section, we're just going to play very simple here, no muting. Okay, so we have pretty simple rhythms. 1, 2, E, and 3, and 4. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, rest. Again, make sure you're getting a good hit spot there. Ready, go. 1. And 2E and rest, 4E and 1, 2, ready, go. Rest, 2, ready, left hand low. Rest. Okay, even though this is pretty simple, it's going to be about the rest. Do not mess up your rest. Make sure don't just play the notes. Make sure the rests are accurate. Okay, a lot of kids will just play the notes instead of actually playing what's correct. Okay, so here is all of line 6. 1, 2, ready, go. Rest. And don't rush that first quarter rest. More of the same in line 7. We have 1E and wait, 3 and. Now you can uncross on 3 and because you have time, and then go back to your crossover after that. Okay, ready, line 7. Rest, switch. So maybe on the quarters you do your little switching. Ready, go. Switch, switch. Okay. All right, second measure of line 7. 1E and 2 and double right, so your left hand can get down there, no need to cross there. Then we have a dotted quarter, so I'm going to think dotted note at the speed of 8 notes. Okay, and then and 1. So I have 1, 2, dotted note, and 1. Do not mess up that rest. Ready, and go. 1 and 2, and dotted rest. Okay? Alright, now we have third measure of the 7th line. 1, 2E and dotted rest and another dotted quarter rest. Ready, go. 1, dotted rest. Again, ready, go. 1, dotted rest and. Now just continue those upbeats as you go. You might want to mute here because you can. It's just up to your instructor, and if you don't sound good at those mutes, don't do them, but maybe it's something you work on, okay? All right, I'm going to do them without the mutes for right now. All right, here we go. I'm going to do the last 2 lines of line 7 together. Ready, go. Line 8, kind of continuing this idea, and then some more specifics. So we have 1 and, mute the low drum so you're not hearing it during the rest, then mute the high drum. So you could do that, or just leave it alone if you don't sound good with those rests. Just because you haven't tried it with the rest doesn't mean you should just not do it because you sound bad. It might take a while. Maybe you can figure it out. Okay, I'm going to do without the rest for right now. Ready? Go. For line 8, second measure, I know it's very similar to earlier when I did puttitas, right, left, right, left on the triplets on line 2. But because of the muting I want to do going into the piano in that third measure of line 8, I'm going to do a left puttita sticking, left, right, right. And I'll show you why in a second. So we have pickups into the second measure of line 8. So we're going to have and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now on 4, I'm going to mute the low drum so that I don't have to worry about this ringing over when I drop the piano. Now, I'm not going to really be able to mute these two drums, but because I'm playing on them, the sticks will mute them a little bit on their own as much as we can. Okay, so let's do line 8. Let's go and take from the beginning of line 8 and just get to the drop into the piano. So you will have to kind of downstroke your last right, and then after you mute, you have to come in low. Don't mute and then come in high. Okay, so you go mute, right, downstroke to right, and enter low. So you might need to practice that. Mute. Okay, and that's what we're going for in the transition. Ready, go. Ready, and go. Now simple rhythms here, I'm not going to mute here because it's too distracting. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2. Ready and go. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 3. I have a crossover here coming up. Ready and go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, now obviously this is softer, so again, make sure your hands are low. Have soft touch. Okay, try those two measures together. Ready? Go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and rest. And then you would kind of start the next idea that's similar, but it starts with a rest. Okay? So let's do all of line 8. Ready and go. And ready, go. Rest and. Okay, line 9, similar idea. Rest and 2 and 3 and 4 and wait 2. Now, in the second measure of the 9th line, you have that similar idea to measure 2, but it's offset a beat. But also, this is a rooftop accent, but it's a quarter. So really, you're not going to mute on the 8th note after. If you're gonna let it be true to the music, you're gonna wait till beat 3. Now, that one is an 8th note on the second note of that measure. So little subtle difference that if this is picked for the region cut, could separate you in a good way. Okay. So let's do the first 2 measures of line 9. 1, 2, ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and wait, 2, 3, and. On 1, we're going to go left lead. So you might want to practice and 4, 1, and taking that 4, 1, mute, 1, and get your left hand ready. Okay? All right, so let's try Let's try adding to that downbeat there. Ready and go and rest. Wait. 2, again and go and rest. Wait. Okay, now, kind of tough left lead, but we're going to need to here to make sure it feels right. So we're going to go left, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. Now maybe let's try one beat, but it happens twice in a row. Let's just try one time of it. Ready and go. And go. And go. Okay, now we'll do 2 in a row. The right hand's taking you there. And go. Try all of line 9. 1, 2, ready, go, rest. Okay, line 10. We're going up the drums, left lead. Again, it's kind of repetitive, so I would do a little mini crescendo on that. Okay, so let's put that in time. 1, 2, ready, go. Good hit spots on the outer drums. Okay, now we have 8 notes. I'm doing this. I'm doing the putter sticking that I used in line 2 with the triplet, just for the same reasons, for a better hit spot on the top drum. Strike that fortissimo piano and then sneak in on that roll. So let's try that measure with the 8 notes. 1, 2, ready, right, putter, da, left, right, left, Now when you hit that fortissimo piano, strike it, come in low, and sneak in crescendo to the last second. Okay. Again, practice that, just staying low first to see if you're really sneaking in. Ready, go. Can you do that? Okay. Then crescendo, maybe the last beat and a half. I'm going to release with my left hand on this roll so my right hand can get up to the top, so we can do another parada, and then we have right hand lead after that. Okay. So let's do the roll. 1, start with the left, end with the left. Ready and go. 1, sneak in. 3, ready and go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's do all of line 10. Ready and go. We have that left release, and then we have that right putter again, and then we're going to go right, left, crossover. Okay, pretty easy. Ready and go. Okay, and then the next measure is exactly like the first measure. And then you're finishing with right lead going up to the right. So 2 rights in a row would work, but you're less available, so alternate as much as possible on timpani. Okay, so let's do the last measure. Ready, go. Notice I am muting the middle drum C with my left right when I hit the final note, and then I'm going to create silence on beat 4 by muting the outer drums. Okay, so it's going to go. whole last line. Ready, go. One, two, last time. Ready, go. Make sure your muting doesn't make a sound like I just did. All right, here is the whole set A timpani, middle school region music at 70. 1, 2, ready, go. Here is a set A, region timpani, middle school music at 96. 1, 2, ready, go. Here's a set A, region middle school timpani music at 108. 1, 2,